It's early July. I just celebrated my 45th birthday, and I'm visiting Quebec for the very first time in my life. We've been on the road a lot lately, enjoying the adventure of letting life lead us to magical new places by surprise as we go. It's been almost a year since we started our first pet sitting assignment, and we're learning to surrender to the journey more. Loving spending time with all those cute dogs and cats, finding the balance between exploring and having a home to stay for a while when we need it. This current house sit has been one of my favorites so far, an absolutely magical place just on the other side of the border to Ontario. A beautiful nature oasis not far from the city. The perfect location to complete the Kickstarter for my new fairy deck, the Oracle of the Magical Fairy Forest. The next adventure further east in Quebec is already booked, but more about that in my next video. This is Mika, our current super adorable pet sitting child. I've been totally in love with her since day one, which you'll probably hear me say a lot in these videos. Lately, I've been getting a lot of questions from fellow free spirits about our house-sitting adventures, so I thought I'd do a little Q&A to answer some of those questions up next in this video. Enjoy, and I can't wait to be back with more updates soon. Okay, shall we do this? I've been getting a lot of questions from people about house sitting and how we got into it, how we find these opportunities and so on. So I thought it'd be fun to answer some of these questions in a video and just share a little bit of our experience over the past year as well. It's been almost a year now since we first got into house and pet sitting. We did our first one back in September last year, and I think this is our 12th one right now, and we have more planned. And so yeah, we've been doing it on and off for almost a year now, and it's been a really fun way for us to travel and get around and see some more of the province. I actually moved to Ontario from BC last year, and so it's been really great for me to just move around and to see some different parts of the province and get a feel for what areas I like. And I also just really haven't had any desire to settle down anywhere for good. And I already kind of knew that when I left BC, that I just didn't really see myself going back to that kind of life for a little while, or just renting a place and staying somewhere permanently for a longer period of time. And I'm still not really feeling that right now. And my partner is also an adventurer, so it works out well for us. And yeah, you're so cute. This is Mika. Yeah, so let's just get into the Q&A. And I'm going to start with the first question. What I really want to get into first is really who this is for, because it's really not for everyone. And a lot of people think, it's just a really fun, free, and easy way to travel. And it's kind of a free vacation. And it can feel that way, but also it's definitely not always going to be that way. And there's a lot more work involved than you might see from the outside. So I just want to point that out to start with as well. But some positives to start with. So it's definitely been a great way for us to travel and get around, and it's a lot more affordable for us right now than just moving from Airbnb to Airbnb. For me, it's been really good because I'm in a transition in my business, and so it's freed up a lot of space for me to really focus on that and not have to worry so much about finances and paying for Airbnbs and so on. And also, in comparison with other ways of traveling, I feel it really helps to stay grounded as well. And so I usually have an office space or just a nice space where I can work. And I've done other ways of traveling in the past, maybe where I lived out of my car for a while and I just really went with the flow every day. And it was a lot harder to focus and get things done. Or also when I was maybe figuring out what I wanted to do next, then it was really difficult because I was constantly so focused on just finding the next place to sleep and so on. And I also believe that's maybe why our motorhome hasn't come in yet. We've been thinking about doing van life and getting a motorhome, and so far that just hasn't worked out. But I feel like, this has been a really great alternative and a great way for us to travel right now. And it's also great if you love pets and if you love spending time with animals. And I feel that's a really important point. So you definitely have to be aware that you do have a lot of responsibility when you're looking after other people's pets. And if you don't enjoy spending time with animals, or if that just kind of feels like a chore, that might not be the best fit for you, because, it's not just responsibility, but you just really care for another being or sometimes several. And then people also want to feel, that their pets are in good hands and that they can go travel without worry and all of that. And so there's definitely some work involved, and it starts with applying for house sits and then communicating with the owners, not just in the beginning, but also on a regular basis. So a lot of people pretty much expect daily updates, or maybe every other day they want to see photos of their pets and just get some updates to know that everything's going well. And also, if you have questions, then you might want to check in, or if there's a problem, then it's always important to communicate. So if you don't enjoy having that responsibility, then it may not be for you. Or if you just feel like you're not a good communicator and it's hard for you to stay in touch with people in that way, then it's just something to be aware of. And also, one thing I want to say is that I've been really grateful I'm not doing this on my own. House sitting has really been on my radar for a long time. I first became aware of this possibility, or as a possible way to travel, probably about 15 years ago, but then it just never really seemed like the right or ideal way for me to travel until about a year ago. I'm definitely glad I'm not doing it on my own. I do know people who do it on their own and it works well for them, but I know for me as a single female, then I think it would be more difficult in some ways, or there would be certain opportunities that would not be ideal for me. Sometimes you really have to deal with things like, shoveling driveways in the winter. Last winter we had a lot of snow in Ontario, and we had to deal with things like a roof that collapsed, and it wasn't in the house but a garage roof, and then my partner took care of that and helped to stabilize it and deal with the contractors and so on. So that definitely made things easier for me. Then also sometimes you might have dogs that are pretty big and that might pull on the leash or run after animals like squirrels, and so some of these I feel would be challenging for me to handle on my own, but because I'm doing it with my partner, he's a lot taller and stronger than me. Like, he can handle dogs that are a little bit more more difficult to keep under control on a walk sometimes. Yeah, so these are just some things to know. So the next question that I get from people a lot is, do we get paid? And the answer is no, we don't get paid, and it's not really why we do it. I know there are some professional house sitters that do get paid for looking after other people's homes and pets, but for us, this is not really the motivation, and yeah, we just really enjoy traveling and spending time with pets, and it feels a little bit like getting free pet therapy as well. And so the platform that we go through, I'll go into that a little bit more in a moment. I'll share how exactly we find these opportunities, but the idea really is that we get to stay at people's homes for free in exchange for looking after their pets and the house while they're traveling, and it really is a win-win for both sides, because for pet owners it's also an easy way to travel without having to, like, if they can't take their pets with them, then they don't have to put them in a kennel, which is also expensive for them. But also, yeah, it's just easier on the pets too when they can stay in their usual surroundings and they have people, who are kind of dedicated to looking after them, and they get all the love and cuddles and care they need, and yeah, it's just less stressful for the animals. And yeah, so most pets, just really enjoy it. And I mean, so far we haven't really had any problems. Sometimes we might have animals that are a little bit more shy in the beginning and it takes them a day or two to warm up, but then yeah, they just love hanging out with us, and we fall in love with them and they fall in love with us. And then that brings me to the last question, that is how we find these opportunities. So we go through a platform named Trusted House Sitters, and that's one of many that are available, but it's definitely one of the most popular ones, and for good reasons, and I'll share a few in a moment. If you want to go check it out, I'm going to leave the link for you down below in the description. I'm going to share my affiliate link with you. If you use that link to sign up, then I think you get 25% off and we get 2 months free, so it's a win-win for everyone. But yeah, some reasons why we go through this platform. First of all, it was recommended to us, but also I really love that it works a lot like Airbnb in a lot of ways. So you have a review system. There's a lot of information about every home. It makes it really easy for homeowners to share all the information that house sitters need to know, whether it's before you apply for the sit or also during the stay. You can share welcome guides really easily with all the information about the pets, when they get fed and when they get walked and all that, and also the house and where to find everything and so on. And there's a really easy application process, and you can message people really easily and just keep track of all the communication, and you just have everything in one place. But yeah, we definitely like kind of the added element of just feeling a little bit safer when we apply for sits as well, and we just know ahead of time kind of what we're getting ourselves into, and we can look at the reviews and just get a sense for what to expect. And then also, of course, for the home and pet owners, it's the same thing, so they can look at the sitters' reviews and just get a sense for, also if they're a good fit for their pets, or if someone has really bad ratings, then it's probably going to be over. But yeah, it just makes things less stressful and kind of safer for everyone. And then also you have a bit of protection from this side as well in terms of, yeah, so the rules are pretty strict. For example, you're not really allowed to cancel. I mean, you can if you both agree, but usually you're not supposed to, and they can actually kick you off the platform if you do that for, no reason whatsoever, and there's no good reason. Of course, you can talk to people, and sometimes we've heard from people that maybe somebody had a really severe health issue, and it just, yeah, they just had to take care of that, and that's fine. But just because you change your mind, you can't just, cancel last minute, and that goes both ways. So that's been really good for us. Yeah, so I think those are the most important things. And if you have any other questions, then please leave them down below in the comments, and I'm gonna do my best to answer whatever questions you have. And once again, if you're interested in learning more about trusted house sitters, then I'll leave the link down below. You can go check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to be back with more videos very soon.